Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. Today I am looking at another bespoke fountain pen maker that this time it's coming from Australia. His name is Steven and his I guess brand is called Just Turnings. I have found the guy sometime last year on our fountain pens subreddit forums and really connected with his bespoke fountain pen designs to the point where I pretty much ended getting 5 fountain pens from him in a fairly relative short amount of time. I got to connect with him via Instagram, and he's a great guy, always helpful, and always taking the time to answer your questions. The great thing about him is that if you wish, you can work with him to build your own custom little fountain pen based on your specific requirements. His business, as far as I can tell, pretty much resides on Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to get in touch with him and check out his work, have a look in the description below. I will link to both his profiles. And just in case anyone wonders, no, I am not sponsored by him to make this video. All the pens that I have are purchased with my own money at full retail price, as they say, no discounts. So whatever I'm going to present here are my own honest thoughts and impressions based on what I have and my personal communication with Steven. Your experience, obviously, as anything else, might be different than mine, so do take that in consideration, please. Let me go quickly through the fountain pens that I have before trying to have some fun with at least one of them. I'm gonna go through the box that you usually receive, and then I'm gonna show the fountain pens quickly. All the fountain pens that I have ordered from him have come in a box similar to this. I like it. It is a fairly simple box, nothing complicated about it, and it is recyclable as far as I can tell. It has, on the other side of course, it has a magnetic clasp, easily can be opened. Inside you will find usually the business card that he has, the fountain pen sitting in that groove, a converter, and based on all the boxes that I received, there was an ink sample included, which was really nice of him to send. And just as information, usually on the other side of the card, you'll basically have the pen number, the range, the materials, and his own signature. And now, having a look at the fountain pens, I keep them nicely in this 10 pen Keiko zipper pen bag, and these are the beauty things that I've got from him. From left to right, basically what I have, and it will match with what he's saying in here basically. So I do have Brooks Blanks Primary Manipulation 1 and Diamond Cast Star Spangled, I believe, and then Krenite Copper, Krenite Lavender, and Wicked Purple. I'll show something nice about that one when I get to it. And the last one, it is Brooks Blanks Black Cherry Koi, I believe. The cool thing about these is that, as mentioned, they are pretty much customizable. If you want to, you can definitely work with him, and he can definitely help out. As a quick story, I first purchased this pen that I really liked, then I got this pen, and both they have Jowo nibs on them. And then I have some nibs that I really wanted to try. However, I couldn't fit them because they are not Jowo nibs. I worked with him on these 2 pens. I basically wanted to fit in those nibs, and he worked with me. He was a little bit skeptic because he didn't have the nibs to install them, and after a little bit of going back and forth and guarantee him that as long as he makes the fitment for a Bach nibs number 6 size, the nib units will fit in without a problem. So he did that for me and everything worked out fine. And the last one, which is the larger pens that he makes, has a number 8 Jinhao nib, nib that you've seen in my previous video. So the pens that I will be focusing mostly today, it will be this one because of the nib that it has, and it's a nib that I really want to try for a while, and I finally get a chance to do it. Anyway, let me quickly just show them up to you, and then we'll just focus on that one. So first one, very simple. It was the Brooks Blanks Primary Manipulation 1. I have it fitted with a Jowo nib, specifically the Omniflex nib that I saved from Conkling fountain pen. I'll get to that story with those nibs once I get to review those fountain pens as well. In the meantime, beautiful pen, beautiful blank. Everything fits in properly. It came with the regular Jowo nib that I changed, and it came with a converter. The second one, which is the Diamond Cast Star Spangled, has the same nib as the first one that I have, and these two, they have the same nibs. The design of the fountain pen is the same, the material is different. However, on this one, I managed to basically put a Cane Wright titanium nib, which I'm really excited about using today. This is what I will be using today. The rest of the pen is pretty much the same design. Nothing changes other than, well, the material that you are using. The cool thing about it is, like I said, if you really want to, you can work with him by looking at the blanks that he has, and you can choose your own materials. For example, for this one, I choose to have a lighter purple material than the body. That turned out to actually match very nicely. He was very nice and accommodated me with my request, and everything worked just fine. And as for the last one, this is one of my favorites pens that I got from him. A quick story that talks also about his person and his customer support, and how he's being proactive basically. What happened with this fountain pen, he told me that by mistake he messed up the measurements on the nib unit, on how deep the threads for the nib unit was inside the pen, and as such only just a couple of threads were catching on. He was extremely nice, and he sent me this and he told me that I can glue it on, and actually the nib unit on this one for now it's glued on this section. However, he was also nice that he incorporated basically a second section, a black section complete with another nib as well, and he asked me he can send this as long as I'm happy, and everything will be fine. And obviously I couldn't say no, and I said thank you. I keep it as a spare. I don't think I'll ever need it, but I'm grateful to have it and for him being so nice to send it. And yeah, this is the fountain pen. This one is the only one that actually posts. I'll get more to that as I talk about the fountain pens. So basically these are pretty much the fountain pens that I got from him. I'm sorry, this video probably will be a little bit longer. I just wanted to show these all at once because in theory they're pretty much the same pen. The only difference, this one is the larger version. I believe this one is the medium version, and I think he makes a slimmer version as far as I remember. So with this aside, let me go quickly through this one, having a more in-depth look at it, and then writing sample and sketch as usual. Alright, so Just Turning's bespoke fountain pen. I have to admit that the design of the pen is actually really nice. It's sleek, very elegant in my opinion, and it's done pretty well. First things that you noticed, obviously, there are no clips or finials to talk about, which for me, I actually really like that much more because I would say you get more material and especially more non-interrupted material. And at the same time, the design, it's much more clean. And to me, at least, it's much more desirable. He does also make custom pens that do have finials and trims and clips if you want to. However, they will be at a higher price. Speaking of price, prices can range a lot. From anything from 170 when he has sales on specific blanks to just above 200 Australian dollars. And it all depends on the trim that you choose and the options that you want to have on it. In my case, my favorite style of fountain pen, no clip, very clean look, perfect fit and size for me. Caps are usually twist caps, and they actually work very well, and they turn actually pretty quick, under 2 turns as far as I know. The threads are very smooth, no plate in them. And again, once you remove the cap, the section it's fairly minimal and small, maybe on the small sides. However, the way it meets the barrel, it's actually pretty good. Very little step up between threads and section. And as you can see, the section has this hourglass shape. Nib, it's perfectly aligned in the section, no issues there, and the finish on the section is just as good as the finish of the cap and the barrel. And having a quick look inside the cap, everything it's machined or turned pretty well, no complaints in there, and works quite well, no problems with the cap. Barrel, as the cap removes fairly nice and easy. It takes a little bit longer because you have a different thread engagement. On the barrel and cap, it's a triple start. On the section and the barrel inside, it's single start. You do get converters included with your fountain pens. In my case, for this pen specifically, I did not have included the converter because I did not have the nib, since I use my own nib and converter. And having a quick look inside the barrel, everything is aligned as well, or better said, fairly well machined, no complaints in there either, and no issues. And the nib removes beautifully and matches very nicely with the inside threads. Everything lines up perfectly, so he definitely pays attention to what he is doing. Well done. I really like it. In hand, the fountain pen for me, it's pretty much a perfect size. Hard to complain about anything on it. And yeah, I don't think there will be any kind of issues. Even if you have larger hands than mine, I think it will still fit nicely. One thing to note with these fountain pens, so because it is hand turn and the measurements sometimes might be slightly different. Some pens might post, some pens might not. Unposted, this pen balances actually very nice, pretty much in the middle of the pen as far as I can tell. And this specific pen seems to post a little bit, just basically a little bit. I wouldn't force it because you don't want to crack that cap. And if it does post, the pen can be fairly lengthy, even if you make it go a little bit deeper. And the balance, I guess, in my case, for this specific fountain pen, it's pretty much in the middle as well. One thing to note, as I mentioned, you can actually work with him on customizing the fountain pen. So basically, you can ask for your pen to be postable, and I'm sure he can accommodate you and make sure that the pen will post. And overall, this is pretty much the pen. Not a lot of things to add. I love the simplicity he has. He has plenty of blanks that he carries and he's using. So you'll definitely find something that you like in there. Anywho, let me ink it up. Let me do a writing sample. I'm really curious about this nib and how it's going to work out. And then we'll dive into a sketch and I'll let you know my final thoughts on these fountain pens. And going for a quick writing sample. Now, if anything fails during this process, it will be hard to blame the pen because I choose to put this nib on this fountain pen. So, Kenwright titanium nib, please do not disappoint. So this is just turnings, bespoke, fountain pen. One first thing to note, the titanium nibs definitely writes. It feels like it needs a little bit of smoothing and it feels dry. By the way, the ink that I put on it, it's the Bami or Bani black permanent ink. Alright, so the nib actually works very nice. It definitely needs a little bit of smoothing, so before the drawing I will do some smoothing. Definitely not a negative thing on the fountain pen or Steven's work, since the nib was my choice. And I believe the problem what happened is that when I anodized that, I might have, something might have happened with the tip, so it just needs a little bit of smoothing. The cool things about these nibs is that they should be flex now. Now this happens because I did not widen the channels on the feed. I'm definitely gonna do that after I empty the pen. That's something that I forgot to do. Alright, I got it working again. Yeah, definitely need to widen those channels on the feed. Anyway, fountain pen feels great so far, no issues, no complaints. Nib works well too, needs a little bit of smoothing. The reverse actually works as well, actually just as good as normal. A little bit of smoothing as well should fix that. So next steps, I'm gonna smooth out the nib a little bit and start a sketch, and I'll let you know what I think of these fountain pens, and specifically the nib that I choose to put on this pen. I guess it's kind of official. Looks like for now I am deep into this neurographic style stuff and loving it. I'm curious how long it will last. Bear with me through this phase, please. I did had fun though, and I like the splash of the Yamabudo ink that I added in there. I basically brought in the Jinhao X159 that I previously used to help me up with that. And the drawing, well, I guess it's like it looks like something, but not at the same time, and still sort of mesmerizing. Well, at least to my eyes. So, quickly going through the Kenwright titanium nib, I managed to smooth it out quite nicely and got it to have a pretty decent ink flow. I still have to widen the channels on that feed though to make it flow a little bit better and flex a little bit better. By the way, it's anyone interested in seeing how I do that, I could make a video out of it if anyone is interested. Let me know. Again, please don't take this on poor Steven's work and the nibs that he's providing. These were my nibs that I wanted to add on a fountain pen. He just made the fountain pens, that's it. Speaking of the fountain pen, well, it felt wonderfully in my hand, no issues, no kind of fatigue, and overall a super positive experience. So, what do I like about the Just Turnings bespoke fountain pens? First thing that comes to mind is build quality. Stephen obviously takes pride and joy in what he's building, and he definitely stands behind his product. You also gotta love the nib choices that he is offering, from Yovo to Bach to even Jinhao number 8 nibs if you really want that. Another thing that I love is that he has a huge selection of blanks from different pen blanks manufacturers, and as such, there is a huge selection of designs available. And lastly, he is making a few different sizes, as I mentioned, of these fountain pens that will suit different needs and hand sizes. And I guess that in combination with the previous point, you have an opportunity for a lot of great unique design opportunities, I would say. What I don't like about them, there are very few things that I dislike about the fountain pens made by Steven. In all honesty, from my point of view, what I actually like as is. It's pretty much what I like in a fountain pen. And a lot of the things that I think people might not like has to do with options and designs on the fountain pen. However, I guess I would say that the good thing about it though is that everything is customizable to your own specification if you want so. Well, again, I assume up to a point. The good thing about it is that you can always get in touch with Steven and you can talk about it. As one example, in my case, except the larger size fountain pen that I have purchased from him with the number 8 Jinhao nib, the pens do not really post. Doesn't really bother me, and if something that for you it's important, you can get in touch with him before ordering a fountain pen, and you can mention that you want to post the pens, and I'm sure he could most probably accommodate that without an issue. The other thing that I could see as an issue is that most of these pens are pretty much without a clip. Steven does make versions with clips as well, but this will automatically bring the cost a little bit higher to account for the cost of the extra bits as in the clips and the extra time in making all the bits to accommodate the clips and the trims. And I guess the last point that will be a little bit not on everyone's liking are the costs. That is something that I find hard to argue against, but at the same time it's something that I actually understand very well from both perspectives. And as someone that has a little bit of insight at the amount of work and dedication it goes into making bespoke fountain pens, I have to say that I understand the costs that are involved and the prices that are being asked. And for someone to make a living out of these fountain pens, they have to charge for their work and time. So personally, I will have to say that the prices are more than fair, but at the same time, I understand that, for some, this could be costly. In the end, the cost will be an individual decision if you want to invest in something like a bespoke fountain pen. The good thing about it, if you decide to do so, is that based on what I see, you are definitely getting a good quality built fountain pen and someone that stands behind their work and takes pride in what they are doing. So overall, I personally do like the fountain pens that Steven is making, and I gladly recommend them if you want to consider them. And I guess that's another wrap. Please do feel free to share your experience or opinions below if by any chance you have one of his fountain pens, or at least based on what you see, what do you think about them? I would love to read what other things about his fountain pens. And if you have any other questions, please leave them below, and I will try and get to it as soon as I can. Thank you kindly for joining me today, and I wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.